There is a man who spent his entire life in a classroom, eventually acquiring 145 separate degrees. It is a Guinness World Record. Yet, outside of academic record books, V.N. Parthaban remains almost entirely unknown. Compare him to Richard Branson, a high school dropout. On his final day of school, his headmaster predicted he would either end up in prison or become a millionaire. Branson never went to prison. Instead, he built 400 companies and launched himself into orbit. Looking at these two lives, which one would you actually classify as smarter? The modern education system was designed to produce reliable, punctual, and obedient laborers. It functions like a factory floor, where students respond to bells, sit in rigid rows, and perform repetitive tasks. In this environment, intelligence is defined as the ability to follow instructions and repeat facts without asking why. If you still measure your worth by these 19th century metrics of compliance, you are evaluating yourself using a scale that was never intended to measure your potential. A dying father once handed his son a rough, ordinary-looking stone. He told the boy to visit 3 different places and asked for its price, but insisted that he must not sell it. At a vegetable market, the vendor barely looked at the rock and offered 5 rupees to use it as a weight. At a jewelry shop, the owner used a loupe to inspect the surface and offered 5,000 rupees for what he suspected was a unique gem. Finally, at a high-end museum, the curator froze. He identified the stone as a rare artifact worth 50 million rupees. The physical stone never changed. Its weight, color, and mineral composition were constant. Its value shifted only when the boy changed the room. Your intelligence is not a fixed number. It is a variable that depends entirely on who is evaluating you. In 1983, Harvard psychologist Howard Gardner proposed that intelligence cannot be captured by a single test score. He identified 9 distinct categories of human capability, effectively breaking the illusion of a single smartness metric. This includes musical intelligence, the intuitive grasp of rhythm, logical mathematical, the ability to manipulate numbers, and existential, the capacity to engage with deep philosophical questions. Then there is interpersonal intelligence, reading a room's emotional state, bodily kinesthetic, elite physical coordination, and linguistic, the mastery of words and persuasion. Finally, Gardner noted intrapersonal intelligence, deep self-awareness, naturalistic, a connection with the physical environment, and spatial, the mastery of orientation and navigation. When society labels your primary strength as a mere hobby or a distraction, you eventually lose the ability to value your own mind. However, identifying your specific type of intelligence is only the first step toward using it effectively. Consider someone with a photographic memory for physics textbooks. They may be a genius in a laboratory, but if they cannot read the subtle social cues of a business negotiation, that IQ score offers 0 protection. Dropping a hyper-logical person into a chaotic, emotional environment, like a traditional family wedding, renders their specific technical genius irrelevant to the task at hand. Intelligence is not just about raw processing speed. It is about adaptability. It is the ability to recognize which mental tool is required for the specific room you are currently standing in. A sharp 5-year-old child might learn new concepts quickly, but they lack the perspective of an 80-year-old who has navigated decades of failure and recovery. Lived experience provides a layer of wisdom that speed cannot replace. Despite this, some 25-year-olds make strategic decisions with the weight and foresight of a veteran. These high achievers are not living faster. They are systematically absorbing the lived experiences of others to supplement their own. Opening a book initiates a direct data transfer. It allows you to download decades of someone else's brutal trial and error directly into your own brain in a matter of hours. By synthesizing the failures of 1,000 predecessors, you gain a perspective your competitors haven't even realized they're missing. To deploy this perspective, you need flexible thinking, the ability to abandon a belief the moment the environment changes, adjusting your strategy without hesitation. Then there is creative thinking, the tactical ability to bypass a blockade by inventing an entirely new route the second a direct path is closed. Third is long-term thinking. Warren Buffett notes that the market is essentially a mechanism for transferring wealth from the impulsive to the disciplined. Discipline is the cognitive ability to prioritize a structural advantage tomorrow over a small pleasure today. Finally, psychologist Daniel Kahneman emphasizes slow thinking. This is the practice of pausing to weigh options rather than reacting immediately out of fear or anger. These 4 frameworks, flexibility, creativity, patience, and deliberate pacing, act as the operating system for your specific type of intelligence. To begin, identify the work that makes you lose track of time. That state of total immersion is the indicator of your true capability. If your current environment treats your primary strength as a distraction, you must immediately seek a different room. Challenge yourself to read one book this month that contradicts your current worldview. Test your own capacity for context. Like the stone in the parable, you are already valuable. Your primary duty is to stop asking for your worth in rooms where nobody knows how to look.